Hello. Is it possible to see all of the city court misdemeanors at the same, to see them together so I can give them the advisement and not repeat it 15 times?
Um,
Or at least the first 3, maybe?
well, yeah, we can try depending on where they're at. I'm still waiting on one of them to show up.
Okay. If you can't, you can't. It's just, there's a long advisement because they're being arraigned in addition to their initial appearance.
Okay. I do have one question though, Your Honor. We already have Wallach Aaron here, and we were wondering if you would be able to see it first or fifth.
Sure. What was the number 5? So that would be, okay. Yeah, I can do that one.
Okay, all right.
And Your Honor, before we get started, I just wanted some clarity. It seems like this might be an identical charge to what he had initial appearance for 2 days ago. I don't know if the prosecutor has some additional information, but it seems identical to me.
All right. Mr. Kaler, do you have information before I start?
Your Honor, I can pull up the interim complaint from the other case, but I believe that it is a separate incident, or at least a separate victim. So let me pull up that interim complaint.
All right. I actually do think, well, okay. That case had 2 counts of aggravated assault on an officer. This case is 1 account of aggravated assault on an officer.
Your Honor, the interim complaint from the initial appearance on the evening of the 3rd names officers Caldera and Cota.
Okay, so this is a new officer, another officer.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, sir, at the jail, what is your full name?
Aaron Michael Wallen.
Sorry, say that one more time.
Aaron Michael Wallen.
Sir, you're here because you've been charged with aggravated assault on an officer. We were just talking about what that means is they're adding one more charge to the same case that you were seen on a couple days ago. Sir, I am going to enter a not guilty plea for you. You have the right to remain silent and the right to an attorney. I'm appointing Douglas Taylor to represent you, and his name and phone number will be in your paperwork. Counsel, I intend to set the same bond and make it concurrent. Does either party object to that?
No.
Does that mean it'll be the same cost?
Your Honor, I have nothing additional to add beyond what's in my question.
So what I'm going to do, sir, is set bond in the amount of $5,000 secured. I'm going to run that concurrent to the bond in CR 25-001-556 FE because it's the same incident. So that means your total bond is $5,000 on these cases. Sir, if you hold on, let me finish. And then if you still have questions, you can ask the attorney who's next to you, okay? So if you do post bond, you're released to pretrial services, no alcohol or illegal drugs, no firearms or weapons, and submit to any monitoring or treatment that's directed by pretrial. I'm ordering that you have no contact with the listed victim, who in this case is Officer Thompson, and that you do not go to that person's residence or workplace. I'm setting a preliminary hearing on February 18th at 1:30 in the afternoon, but that court date is very likely to change. So if you're not in custody, you need to stay in touch with your attorney and with pretrial so they can tell you when your hearing is. If you miss it, you will get a warrant. If you still have a question, sir, I would suggest that you ask the lawyer next to you, okay? No, you don't have any more questions? Oh, they're muted.
Okay. Okay, all right.
All right, good luck, sir.
Thank you. That's right. Oh. Just really. Yeah.
Your Honor,
Yes.
I have all 5 of the misdemeanors if you want to talk to them.
Okay, so I think that there are 4 city court ones, Daniel, Fry, Nicholson, and Ion. Was there another one?
Urquhart. Benjamin Urquhart.
I don't see him on my list. Oh. Oh, he's got both. Okay, yep, you can bring him out as well. Thank you.
Okay.
He doesn't have anything? Oh, no, we do not need him. He does not have city stuff. He's JP. All right.
Wilson.
Yeah, just listen to what she's saying. She just stopped telling you guys that you can sit back down and go one by one.
All right. Who is Adrian Daniel? All right. And then who's Derek Fry? That's you, sir. Gabriel Nicholson. Okay. And then Nathan Ion.
Nathan? Oh, he's a new arrestee down there. That's the way it was.
Sorry, is Mr. Ion coming or no?
So he's a new arrestee. These ones are all house.
Okay.
So let's do it.
I think you said you had Urquhart, but he only has a justice court case, not a city case. So I'm not going to talk to him just now.
Okay.
All right. So for the 3 of you, Mr. Daniel, Mr. Fry, and Mr. Nicholson, you're here because you're having an initial appearance and arraignment on misdemeanor charges pending in Tucson City Court. I am going to enter a not guilty plea for each of you. You do have the right to remain silent and the right to an attorney, although not necessarily at court expense. You do have the right to be present at all future hearings. If you fail to appear, a warrant could issue. You could be charged with failure to appear as a separate criminal offense. You could be tried and convicted in your absence. And if you couldn't be sentenced within 90 days because of your failure to appear, you could also lose your right to appeal. In addition, I'm required to tell you that if you are convicted of a crime, it may have collateral consequences, including but not limited to immigration consequences. If I appoint an attorney for you and then you are later released from custody, you do need to go to Tucson City Court to room 104 to complete a financial assessment. That is so the court can determine whether to charge you attorney's fees and how much. And then it can also affect other fees as well. All right, so I'm going to start with Mr. Daniel. If you can have a seat real quick in that one of those chairs. And I'll be quick. All right, Mr. Daniel, you're here because you've been charged with possession of drug paraphernalia. I'm like I said, I entered a not guilty plea for you. I'm going to appoint the city public defender's office to represent you. I'm releasing you on your own signature on this case, but you are being held on a felony. So you're not going to actually get out unless you get released on the felony. I'm setting a court date in Tucson City Court on March 21st at 9 o'clock in the morning, and that's with Judge Clotes. Do you have any questions, sir, about your release conditions or your court date?
No.
Good luck, sir. Thank you.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
All right. And then, sir, what's your full name?
Scott Fry.
Derek Fry, correct?
Yep.
So, sir, you are here because you have new charges of criminal trespass. And I do know that you have other cases that you're already held on. On the new charges, I'm going to appoint the city public defender's office. I'm going to release you on your own signature. You're still held on those other cases. I'm just releasing you on the new case. I'm ordering that you do not go back to the incident location. I'm going to affirm your court date. You have a video review on February 7th, which is this Friday at 1:45. You will be seen then on all of the cases. If you get released from custody, your court date would change to February 27th at 9 a.m. if you're released before Friday. Sir, do you have any questions about your release conditions or your court date? Good luck, sir. Thank you. Hi, sir. What's your full name? Sir, you're here because you've been charged with criminal trespass. That's a new charge. And you also had a warrant on a older case. In that case, you were charged with shoplifting, assault, and failure to appear. I'm going to release you on your own signature on these charges in order that you have a case from 2024 in Tucson City Court where you're charged with shoplifting, assault, and failure to appear, and you have a warrant because you didn't come to court on that.
For assault, I didn't catch him on assault cases.
What's your date of birth?
06/17/91.
Yes, you did, sir. There's a citation right here in the file. So you do have a case. You were seen by a judge December 27th of 2024, released from custody and told to come back on January 24th. You did not appear. Sir, I'm not going to argue with you about your charges. You have two cases pending in Tucson City Court, and I'm entering a not guilty plea for you, and I'm going to release you on your own signature. I'm going to order that you do not go back to the incident location, and you have to appear, and then you're being held on a felony, so you're not going to actually get out unless the felony judge releases you. I'm just releasing you on the city court cases. So your next hearing on the city court cases is March 21st at 9 o'clock in the morning with Judge Clotes. I'm appointing the public defender to represent you. If you're in custody, your attorney will handle the hearing for you. If you're out of custody, you must appear for that hearing. Do you have any questions about your release conditions or your court date?
Yes, I just have so it's a misdemeanor assault.
Yes, it's a misdemeanor assault.
All right, that's it. That's the only question I had.
All right, good luck. Thank you.
All right.
Rivera. Take a seat.
Hi, sir. What's your full name?
Gabriel Rivera.
Sir, you have a warrant out of Nogales Municipal Court on a charge of driving on a suspended or revoked license. I'm going to enter a not guilty plea for you. I'm going to release you on your own signature. I'm ordering that you do not drive unless you have a valid driver's license. And I'm giving you a court date in Nogales, at municipal court, not justice court. Give me 1 second. The address here is Nogales Justice Court. Do they share a building with municipal court? The warrant says Nogales Municipal. Okay, you'll change it. All right. So, sir, you're going to have a court date at Nogales Municipal Court, not Justice Court, on February 19th at 8:30 in the morning. You must appear for that hearing or a warrant could issue. Do you have any questions, sir? All right. Good luck, sir. Just change this. Thank you.
Benjamin. Stand up, sit down, take a seat.
Hi, sir. What's your full name?
Benjamin Lee Urquhart.
Sir, you're here because you have a warrant out of Pima County Justice Court. Looks like the charges are an animal biting and having a dog at large off a leash. I am going to enter a not guilty plea for you. Sir, I'm going to release you on your own signature. I'm ordering that you follow all release conditions that were previously set in this case. Your next court date is February 13th at 11:30 in the morning at Pima County Justice Court with Judge Steele. You must appear for that hearing or a warrant will issue. Do you have any questions, sir?
No, yes. No.
All right. Good luck, sir.
Your Honor, and then Johnson Lee, he ended up getting put on a restraint board, so he's not going to be coming to court tonight.
All right. So on Lee Johnson, I'll show that the defendant. And so we're going to continue this to the morning session. Didn't erase the council thing there, but I'm not really appointed. Right. Thank you. I have not appointing council if I didn't see him, but I didn't want to remove it because I didn't know. Okay. All right, ma'am, what's your full name?
Mara Ellen Sisk.
All right, and is the public defender back? I can't see.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
I don't know why you can't see me, but
It's just the way the screen is split right now. It's very narrow, but that's okay. All right, so ma'am, you are here because you've been charged with 2 counts of disorderly conduct with a weapon as a domestic violence offense. I'm going to enter a not guilty plea for you. You do have the right to remain silent and the right to an attorney. I'm appointing the public defender's office to represent you. Pretrial services tells me that you are in the lowest risk category for non-violent felony offenses. The state is asking for a $7,500 bond. Give me 1 moment to finish reviewing everything I have here.
just. I would,
All right, defense counsel.
okay. Your Honor, she has no prior felony convictions. She's a 1 on the FTA and the NCA scale. The victim did not object to her release according to pretrial services. She's lived in Tucson for 3 years and has ties to the community. She's lived in Arizona for 21 years and has ties to the states. She's also currently employed and would like to keep working. I did see that one of the concerns pretrial had in the report was they weren't sure if she had housing separate from the victim. But she does have another family member who she can live with for the time being. So I would ask you to consider releasing her to pretrial services based primarily on the lack of any criminal history. If the court is inclined to impose a bond, I ask that it be $2,000.
All right, ma'am, I am going to release you to pretrial services. I'm ordering that you do not have any alcohol or illegal drugs, no firearms or weapons, and submit to any monitoring or treatment that's directed by pretrial services. I'm ordering that you do not have any contact at all with the listed victims. That's your husband and your son, at least until another judge changes that order. You cannot go to their residence or workplace, except I will allow you to go back one time with the police to get your things. That means you can take my order to a police station near that address, and someone will go with you to get your belongings. Your next court date on this is going to be a preliminary hearing on February 25th at 1:30 in the afternoon. However, that court date is very likely to change. So make sure you stay in touch with your attorney and with pretrial. That way you know when your hearing is. If you miss it, you will get a warrant. One thing I forgot to mention, I'm also ordering that you do not commit any acts of domestic violence while the case is pending. Ma'am, do you have any questions about your release conditions or your court date?
No, ma'am.
Good luck.
Or other than notify me of any changes, like, will that be through pretrial services and that?
Pretrial and your attorney. So like if your court date changes, then pretrial and your attorney would be informed of that, and they should let you know. And if you're checking in with pretrial, then they'll have contact with you so they can tell you.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Good luck, ma'am.
All right, John, and then Gonzalez, it looks like he's still out of the facility. And then Gyro, Timothy, he refused to come in court today.
All right, so let's start with Kevin Gonzalez. I'll show that this is continued to the morning because the defendant is in the hospital. He's got 2 cases, so hold on, I've got to put that in here twice. All right, and then on. All right, Timothy Gyro. Let me see here. It looks like he is refusing this evening. He also refused this morning. And he was involved in some sort of incident and couldn't be seen yet last night. Let's see, he also refused to attend on Tuesday. So, all right. Counsel, he is sitting in jail, and nothing is going to happen on his case unless he comes here, unless you're willing to waive his presence and let me do the arraignment in absentia.
Your Honor, we can waive his presence.
All right, so here's what I'm gonna do then. I'm gonna show that the defendant is refused. Defense counsel waived his presence. right. And then I've got the first case I have. He is charged with criminal trespass as a class 6 felony. The second case, taking contraband into a correctional facility as a class 2 felony. I'll enter a guilty or not guilty plea on both cases, and I'll appoint the public defender's office to represent him. The pretrial services is telling me that he is in the highest risk category for nonviolent felony offenses. The state is asking for a $25,000 bond on. I'm gonna figure out which cases, which, hold on. 25,000 on the, oh, wait a minute. The charges I just read off are not correct. All right, so it looks like he's actually charged with possession of a narcotic drug for sale, possession of a narcotic drug for use, and possession of drug paraphernalia in one case. And then in the other case, and those are not listed on the pretrial services report for some reason.
Your Honor,
Yeah.
I believe the charges you read are for Kevin Gonzalez.
Oh. All right. I opened the wrong one. Thank you. That is my bad. I clicked on the wrong name. They're right next to each other on my screen. Thank you. All right. So it's possession of a narcotic for sale, possession of a narcotic, possession of drug paraphernalia in one case. And then the other case is a felony flight charge. Do I have an interim on that one? Oh, that was a warrant. And that case is a felony flight charge. Is that warrant out of? I'm sorry, this paperwork is not making sense to me. Give me a moment here. It says that warrant's out of juvenile court. Is this defendant? Am I seeing him on that? Or is that a separate?
Your Honor, I'm not sure. I see that there's a probation violation warrant out of Pinal County, but I don't believe Mr. Gyro is a juvenile or would have any warrants from a juvenile court.
And Your Honor, given his age of 52, the juvenile court wouldn't have jurisdiction in any circumstance.
Okay. I'm just looking at the ACIC printout and it says failure to appear on a misdemeanor. And then it says court, Pinal County Superior Court, juvenile court. All right. So that's a separate warrant. All right. So let's just deal with the felonies that are here in Pima County first. And I apologize. This case is a little confusing. There's a lot of paperwork. All right. So on the drug charges, that's the one where pretrial services is telling me that he is a level 3 on the non-violent felony offense risk assessment. He is a probation hold. He is held without bond on probation violation warrants out of 2 other counties, Cochise and Pinal. He also has some city court cases going on. And I think he's held by city court right now, or he may be. And so the state on that one is asking for the $25,000 bond, and defense counsel.
Your Honor, it appears that he has ties to the community. I see that he has history in Tucson, going back to 1991. As you mentioned, he's no bond currently on a probation violation. On the drug case, I'd ask you set the bond at $5,000.
All right, I am gonna set bond in the amount of $5,000 on this case. That is a secured bond. If he posted, he's released to pretrial services. No alcohol or illegal drugs, no firearms or weapons, and he must submit to any monitoring or treatment that's directed by pretrial services. On this one, he'll have an initial appearance, a preliminary hearing on February 18th at 1:30 in the afternoon. That takes care of that one. All right, then on his warrant out of I am so confused by this. Okay, so then he does have another felony case here of unlawful flight. Which I'm not seeing on the pretrial services. What am I missing? Oh, the flight? I guess that's a warrant out of Pinal County, but is that the probation violation or a separate one? I'm sorry, you guys, this defendant has so many cases and so many pieces of paperwork. County case 2182. There we go, 2186. Okay, so that is a probation violation. On that case, I am going to order that he be held without bond since it's a felony probation violation. And I'm going to order that he follow all conditions of probation. And do I need to set a no bond hearing on that one, counsel?
No, I think it would be a review hearing.
Okay, because I think on a probation violation, he doesn't get a no bond hearing. Do you know?
I believe that's correct.
Okay. All right, so the review hearing on this one will be March 5th at 9 a.m. I am not setting a no bond hearing. I'm just holding him without bond because it's a probation violation on a felony, and I'm ordering that he follow all conditions of probation. Sorry? Oh, sorry. All right, then he has Tucson City Court. Court cases. Charged with possession of drug paraphernalia and criminal trespass and refusing to provide his true name. And all of those are warrants for failure to appear. On those cases, I'm going to set a $200 secured bond. I'm going to order that he does not possess or consume any alcohol or illegal drugs and does not go back to the incident location. I'm appointing the city public defender, and I'm finding that the defendant waived his presence by repeatedly refusing to come to court. On that case, I'm setting a video review on February 14th at 1:45 in the afternoon. If he's released from custody before then, his court date changes to March 5th of 2025 at 9 a.m. That's with Judge Hale at Tucson City Court. All right. I apologize that got so confusing, but I think we got through it. Yeah, I should have done the easy thing and continued it to the morning. So maybe I could have done the easy thing and continued it to the morning. Just trying to get the case. Yeah, but at some point, we just have to do it.
But instead of
Hi, sir, what's your full name?
Isaac Levi Steros.
Sir, you're here on a couple different things. First of all, you have a warrant out of Pima County Justice Court. It looks like you failed to appear on charges of disorderly conduct. I'm entering a not guilty plea for you. You have the right to remain silent and the right to an attorney. I'm appointing Janet Altschuler to represent you. Her name and phone number will be in your paperwork. On that case, I'm setting bond in the amount of $100 secured. And I'm ordering that you follow all release conditions previously set in that case. Your next court date on this will be tomorrow at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. If you're in custody, you'll be seen by video. If you're out of custody, you must appear in Pima County Justice Court or a warrant would issue. Sir, you also have multiple cases in Tucson City Court. You've been charged with threatening, possession of drug paraphernalia, possession of a prescription-only drug without a prescription, and 2 counts of disorderly conduct. On those cases, I'm entering a not guilty plea for you. You have the right to remain silent and the right to an attorney. I'm appointing the public defender's office to represent you. You do have the right to be present at all future hearings. If you fail to appear, a warrant could issue. You could be charged with failure to appear as a separate criminal offense. You could be tried and convicted in your absence. And if you couldn't be sentenced within 90 days because of your failure to appear, you could also lose your right to appeal. I'm required to tell you that if you are convicted of a crime, it may have collateral consequences, including but not limited to immigration consequences. On this case, sir, I'm setting bond in the amount of $250 secured. I'm ordering that you do not have any contact with any listed victims and do not go to their residence or workplace. Your next court date, if you're in custody, will be February 14th at 1:45, and you'll be seen by video. If you're released before then, your court date changes to March 5th at 9 o'clock in the morning. That's at Tucson City Court with Judge Hale, and you must appear for that hearing. Sir, do you have any questions about your court dates or your release conditions?
So I'm gonna get released today.
No, sir. I'm holding you on bonds, 250 on City Court and 100 on Justice Court.
Okay, so I just stay in jail because I was
Unless you-
homeless those times. I was
Unless-
homeless all those times.
Well, sir,
Absolutely.
I'm required to set release conditions that will ensure you come to court, and you have a very long history of failure to appear. So I'm not going to change the release conditions, but you can certainly talk to your attorneys about it. Okay?
So I just I'm just gonna stay in jail, and then when I do call my mom or something, or how do I do this?
Unless you post bond, you're going to stay in custody until your next hearing in each case, and then you can talk to your attorney could talk to you about trying to change your release conditions then.
Okay, so it's good if I call and someone. Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Is that it?
yes,
Okay.
Hi, what's your full name?
Hi, Eileen Rico Welna.
Right. Ma'am, you are here because you've been charged with disorderly conduct as a domestic violence offense. I will enter a not guilty plea for you. You have the right to remain silent and the right to an attorney, although not necessarily at court expense. Ma'am, on these cases, pretrial services is telling me that, or this case, that you are in the lowest risk category and the victim does not object to your release or to contact with you. So I am going to release you on your own signature. I'm ordering that you do not commit any acts of domestic violence. Your next court date is March 7th at 8:30 in the morning at Pima County Justice Court with Judge Pesquera. You must appear for that hearing or a warrant would issue. Do you have any questions, ma'am?
No,
Good luck, ma'am.
thank you.
All right, sir, what's your full name?
Robert David Byron.
All right, so you are here also on a couple different things. Let's see. First of all, you have a warrant out of Pima County Justice Court on a charge of DUI. Then you have a new charges out of Pima County Justice Court for possession of drug paraphernalia, driving a car with an expired registration and not having proof of insurance. You also have city court cases, which we'll deal with separately. Sir, on the justice court cases, you have the right to remain silent. You have the right to an attorney. I'm appointing Adam Waters to represent you. I am going to release you on your own signature. I'm ordering that you do not drive without a valid driver's license, do not possess or consume any alcohol or illegal drugs. Your next court date on this is February 27th at 10 a.m. and you must appear for that hearing or a warrant will issue. Do you have any questions about your release conditions or court dates in justice court?
I don't.
All right, sir, then you have cases in Tucson City Court. You're charged with refusing to provide your true name, driving on a suspended license, and possession of drug paraphernalia. On those, I'm also going to enter a not guilty plea for you. You do have the right to remain silent and the right to an attorney, although not necessarily at court expense. You have the right to be present at all future hearings. If you fail to appear, a warrant could issue. You could be charged with failure to appear as a separate criminal offense. You could be tried and convicted in your absence. And if you couldn't be sentenced within 90 days because of your failure to appear, you could also lose your right to appeal. I'm also required to tell you that if you're convicted of a crime, it may have collateral consequences, including but not limited to immigration consequences. On that case, sir, I'm going to release you on your own signature. I'm ordering again that you do not drive unless you have a valid driver's license and do not possess or consume any alcohol or illegal drugs. Your next court date is March 12th at 9:30 in the morning at Tucson City Court with Judge Maldonado, and you must appear for that hearing. Do you have any questions about your release conditions or your court date in that case?
No, I don't.
All right, sir, please make sure you get to both court dates so you don't get another warrant. Good luck.
Hello.
Sir, what is your full name?
Nathan Antonio Ion.
All right, sir, you're here because you have new charges of possession of drug paraphernalia, criminal trespass, and disorderly conduct. You also have warrants out of Tucson City Court for failure to appear. Your charges on those cases are shoplifting, criminal trespass, failure to appear, shoplifting, criminal trespass, failure to appear, possession of drug paraphernalia, shoplifting, and contempt of court and possession of drug paraphernalia. On all of those, I'm entering a not guilty plea for you. You do have the right to remain silent and the right to an attorney. I'm appointing the City Public Defender's Office to represent you. You have the right to be present at all future hearings. If you are not present, a warrant could issue. You could be charged with failure to appear as a separate criminal offense. You could also be tried and convicted in your absence. And if you couldn't be sentenced within 90 days because of your failure to appear, you could lose your right to appeal. Sir, I'm required to tell you that if you're convicted of a crime, it may have collateral consequences, including but not limited to immigration consequences. Sir, on these cases, I'm setting bond in the amount of $250 secured. I'm ordering that you do not go back to the incident location. Your next court date is February 13th at 1:45 in the afternoon at Tucson City Court. If you're in custody, you'll be seen by video. If you're out of custody, you must appear for that hearing. Do you have any
Okay.
questions, sir, about your release conditions or your court date?
Release conditions? You said release conditions?
Your release
No, ma'am.
conditions are a $250 secured bond and do not go back to the incident location.
Okay, but am I released?
No.
Okay,
not
yes,
unless
yes. So I'm not released?
You're not released, sir.
So what's going on? Am I held in jail?
Unless you post bond, you'll be held in jail until your next hearing, which is February 13th.
So I'm held in jail then, right?
Yes, yes.
Yes, sir.
I'll explain.
Okay, thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Hi, sir. What's your full name?
Okay.
Counsel, do you want to waive reading?
Yes, Your Honor.
Sir, I'm going to enter a not guilty plea for you. You do have the right to remain silent and the right to an attorney. I'm appointing the public defender's office to represent you. Pretrial services tells me that you are a level 2 risk on the risk categories for nonviolent felony offenses. It's a 2 out of 4. And it looks like you do not have any other holds. The state is asking for a $10,000 bond. Defense counsel.
Your Honor, he's lived in Tucson for 50 years and has ties to the community. The predicate offense that requires the registration is from 1988, so a very long time ago. He's homeless and unemployed, so he's not going to be able to post any amount of bond. And as you set the bond at $3,000.
I find some of his criminal history concerning. But pretrial is telling me he does not have a new violent criminal activity flag. All right, I'm gonna set bond in the amount of $1,000 secured. I'm ordering that, sir, if you post that bond, you're released to pretrial services, no alcohol or illegal drugs, no firearms or weapons, and you must submit to any monitoring or treatment that's directed by pretrial. Setting your next hearing on February 18th at 1:30 in the afternoon. However, that court date is very likely to change. If you're released from custody before then, please make sure you stay in touch with your attorney and with pretrial services so that you know when your court date is and you don't miss it. If you do miss it, you'll get a warrant. And just for the record, I am considering the risk assessment, the criminal history, the charges, and his ability to pay. All right, sir, do you have any questions about your release conditions or your court date?
No, Your Honor.
Look, sir. All right, I think the next one is the Spanish speaker. We do have an interpreter on, right? Okay.
Yes, Your Honor, I'm here.
All right, thank you. I think you're up next.
Okay, I'm ready.
Sit up.
Hi, sir, what's your full name?
Hola,
Hola,
amigo.
señor. ¿Cuál es su nombre completo? Yo seré su intérprete de inglés.
Gracias. Alejandro Villegas Pérez.
Alejandro Villegas Pérez.
Sí.
Sir, you're here because you've been charged with fraudulent schemes and artifices and theft.
Usted está aquí relacionado a unas acusaciones que tiene que ver con actos fraudulentos y también por hurto.
I'm going to enter a not guilty plea for you.
Voy a someter una declaración de no culpable por su parte.
You have the right to remain silent and the right to an attorney.
Usted tiene el derecho de permanecer en silencio, así también como el derecho de ser representado por un abogado.
I'm appointing the public defender's office to represent you.
Y voy a nombrar a la oficina de los abogados defensores para que lo representen.
Pretrial services tells me that you are in the lowest risk category on their risk assessment.
Y la agencia de servicios previos al juicio me han informado que usted está en la categoría más baja de no huir.
And there is a hold on you from ICE.
Y usted tiene una detención por parte de inmigración.
The state is asking for a $1,000 bond.
La fiscalía recomienda que se fije una fianza de $1,000.
I'm going to hear from your attorney next.
Y ahora voy a escuchar al abogado defensor.
Your Honor, may I briefly speak with him before I respond?
Yes.
Voy a hablar con él brevemente, dice la abogada.
Your Honor, no objection to the $1,000 bond.
Su señoría, no me opongo a la fianza de $1,000.
Sir, I am going to set bond in the amount of $1,000 secured.
Voy a fijar la fianza en $1,000, señor, asegurada.
If you post that bond, you're released to pretrial services.
Si usted llega a pagar esa fianza, usted va a estar en libertad bajo la supervisión de la agencia previa al juicio.
You're not to have any alcohol, drugs, firearms, or weapons.
No debe de consumir ningún tipo de drogas, alcohol, no debe de portar armas ni ningún tipo de arma de fuego.
And you must submit to any monitoring or treatment that's directed by pretrial.
Y cualquier programa de monitoreo o tratamiento que le vaya a recomendar la agencia de servicios previos al juicio, usted debe de obedecerla.
I'm ordering that you do not go back to the incident location.
Voy a ordenar que usted no regrese al lugar donde ocurrió el incidente.
That is the Walmart on South Nogales Highway in Saurita.
Ese es el Walmart en el sur de Nogales por Sahuarita.
Your next court date on this is February 18th at 1:30 in the afternoon.
Su siguiente fecha de audiencia va a ser el 18 de febrero a la 1:30 de la tarde.
However, that court date is very likely to change.
Sin embargo, esa fecha de audiencia muy probablemente va a cambiar.
If you're released from custody, please stay in touch with your attorney and with pretrial services.
Si usted llega a salir en libertad, le pido que usted se ponga en contacto con su abogado, así también como la agencia de servicios previos al juicio.
They can keep you updated about your court date.
Fecha de corte.
If you miss court, a warrant will issue.
Si usted no se llega a presentar a su fecha de corte, se va a emitir una orden para su arresto.
I just want to make sure you understand that if you do post bond, you're not going to be released out to the community. ICE has a hold on you and they would pick you up.
También le quiero informar, señor, que si usted llega a pagar la fianza, usted no de que ICE puede venir a recogerlo. ¿Tiene alguna pregunta sobre las condiciones de libertad o sobre su fecha de corte?
Sí. ¿Cómo me comunico para
How can I get hold of my wife? She's in Mexico, so she can bring me the money to pay the bond.
You're gonna need to talk with your attorney or
¿Qué con su abogado sobre eso? A él le puede preguntar o también le puede preguntar ahí al personal de la cárcel.
but again, if she posts the bond, you're going to go into immigration's custody. You're not going to get out.
Señor, le retó, si llega a pagar la fianza, usted no va a salir de la cárcel. Usted va a ser trasladado a inmigración.
Okay.
All right, good luck, sir.
Buena suerte, señor.
Gracias.
Thank you.
So the interpreter can be excused. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Mark.
Hi, sir. What's your full name?
Daniel Joseph Archie.
Right. Sir, you're here because you have a warrant out of Pima County Superior Court. You failed to appear for in possession of drug paraphernalia. I will enter a not guilty plea for you. You do have the right to remain silent and the right to an attorney. I'm appointing the public defender's office to represent you. Pretrial services tells me that you are a level 3 out of $4,000 bond. I understand that you told pretrial that the reason you missed court was due to a medical emergency.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, I'm going to give you one more chance on pretrial services release, but I need you to understand that if you fail to appear again, then you're very likely to be held on bond. Now, coming to court, you've got to get a hold of your attorney's office and let them know so that they can tell the judge, okay?
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
So I'm releasing you to pretrial services, no alcohol or illegal drugs, no firearms or weapons, and you must submit to any monitoring or treatment that's directed by pretrial. Your next court date is February 12th at 1:30 in the afternoon. Sir, that's an arraignment, not a preliminary hearing. So that court date will not change. You need to appear for that hearing or a warrant will issue. Do you have any questions?
No, ma'am.
All right, good luck, sir.
Thank you.
Oops, yeah, back up. And Your Honor, Cabrera, they are restraining order to it.
All right, ma'am, what's your full name? Or sir, what's your full name?
Zachary James Larson.
Okay, we are out of order. That's what you said. What did you say? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. All right, sir, there, just give me one moment, okay? I'm gonna talk about another case, but stay where you are, because you're next. All right, so then I am going to, on Karina Cabrera, I'm gonna note for the record, I only found probable cause on the aggravated DUI and not on the other charges. There's kind of an insinuation that there was an accident, but there's actually nothing in the probable cause statement that says there was an accident. It doesn't really matter for today's purposes. I'm going to continue this initial appearance to the morning because she's not cooperative. And she'll be seen in the morning. All right. She has city cases too. Oh, she's got city cases as well. I apologize. Man, I am falling down on the job today. All right. On the city court cases, I'll do the same thing and continue them to the morning. Okay, so let me give you those. All right, sir, tell me one more time, what's your full name?
Zachary James Larson.
So, sir, you are here on a couple different things. You have felony charges of possession of a dangerous drug and possession of drug paraphernalia, and then you have city court cases, which we will deal with separately. Sir, on the felony, I'm going to enter a not guilty plea for you. You do have the right to remain silent and the right to an attorney. I'm appointing the public defender's office to represent you. Pretrial services tells me that you are in the highest risk category for nonviolent felony offenses. Let me see. The state is asking me to set bond in the amount of $1,000. Defense counsel.
Like, who does that? You know what I mean? Okay.
Your Honor, this is a personal use drug offense. He's lived in Tucson for 7 years and has ties to the community. However, if the court is planning to hold him on the misdemeanors, then we would agree to the bond request from the prosecutor so that he gets time credit in this case.
All right, I do intend to hold him on the misdemeanors. Sir, I am going to set bond on the felony in the amount of $1,000 secured. If you post that bond, you're released to pretrial services. No alcohol or illegal drugs, no firearms or weapons, and submit to any monitoring or treatment that's directed by pretrial. Your next court date on this case is a preliminary hearing on February 18th at 1:30 in the afternoon. That court date is very likely to change. So if you get released from custody before then, please make sure that you stay in touch with pretrial services and your attorney so that you know when your court date is. If you miss it, you will get a warrant. Sir, you also have cases in Tucson City Court.
Yes.
All right. In Tucson City Court, you have charges of possession of drug paraphernalia, failure to appear, shoplifting, possession of drug paraphernalia, failure to appear, criminal trespass, failure to appear, criminal trespass, possession of drug paraphernalia, failure to appear, shoplifting, failure to appear, possession of drug paraphernalia, possession of a prescription-only drug without a prescription, failure to appear, criminal trespass, possession of drug paraphernalia, failure to appear, shoplifting, failure to appear, criminal damage, failure to appear, obstructing a highway or public thoroughfare, failure to appear, possession of drug paraphernalia, and shoplifting and possession of drug paraphernalia. On all of those cases, I will enter a not guilty plea for you. You have the right to remain silent. You also have the right to an attorney. I'm appointing the public defender's office to represent you. You have the right to be present at all future hearings. If you fail to appear, a warrant could issue. You could be charged with failure to appear as a separate criminal offense. You could be tried and convicted in your absence. And if you couldn't be sentenced within 90 days because of your failure to appear, you could lose your right to appeal. I'm also required to tell you that if you're convicted of a crime, it may have collateral consequences, including but not limited to immigration consequences. So on these cases, I'm setting a separate bond of $1,000 secured. I'm going to order that you do not possess or consume any alcohol or illegal drugs, do not have any contact with any victims, do not go to any victim's residence or workplace, and do not go back to the incident location. I am setting a video review on February 14th. At 1:45 in the afternoon. If you're in custody then, you'll be seen by video. If you're released from custody before then, your court date changes to March 5th at 2:30 in the afternoon at Tucson City Court with Judge Mayhew. You must appear for that hearing. Sir, do you have any questions about your release conditions or your court date?
Well, I don't.
No?
I don't. Thank you.
Luck, sir. All right, sir, what's your full name?
Scott Monty.
All right, so you're here because you've been charged with promoting prison contraband. I will enter a not guilty plea for you. You have the right to remain silent and the right to an attorney. I'm appointing the public defender's office to represent you. Pretrial services tells me you are in the highest risk category for nonviolent felony offenses. And the state is asking for a $2,500 bond. Defense counsel.
Your Honor, he's lived in Tucson for 27 years and has ties to the community. He's currently employed and already in jail on another matter, so he has no ability to post bond at this time. I'd ask you set the bond at $1,000.
All right, again, I'm considering the nature of the charges, his criminal history, his risk assessment, and his ability to pay. I am going to set bond in this case in the amount of $1,500 secured. If you post that bond, you're released to pretrial services. No alcohol or illegal drugs, no firearms or weapons, and submit to any monitoring or treatment that's directed by pretrial. Your next court date is February 18th at 1:30 in the afternoon. Sir, that court date is very likely to change. So if you're released from custody before then, please stay in touch with your attorney and with pretrial services. That way they can tell you when your court date is. If you miss it, you will get a warrant. Do you have any questions about your release conditions or your court dates, sir? No? All right. Good luck, sir.
Smith.
All right, sir, what is your full name?
Representative Smith.
You're here because you've been charged with possession of a narcotic drug for sale, possession of a dangerous drug, and possession of drug paraphernalia. I will enter a not guilty plea for you. Pretrial services tells me you are a level 2 out of 4 for nonviolent felony offenses on their risk assessment. The state is asking for a $10,000 bond. Defense counsel.
Your Honor, he's a lifelong resident of Tucson and he has ties to the community. I'd ask you set the bond at $3,000.
All right, I think that defense counsel's recommendation is appropriate under the circumstances. I'm going to set bond. You said $3,000, correct? Making sure I heard you.
Yes.
I'm going to set
Yes.
bond in the amount of $3,000 secured. Sir, if you post that bond, you're released to pretrial services. No alcohol or illegal drugs, no firearms or weapons, and you must submit to any monitoring or treatment that's directed by pretrial services. Your next court date on this, sir, is February 18th at 1:30 in the afternoon. However, that court date is very likely to change. So if you are released from custody before then, you do need to stay in touch with pretrial services and with your attorney so you know when your court date is. If you miss it, you will get a warrant. Sir, do you have any questions about your release conditions or your court date?
No.
Good luck, sir. All right. I believe that's our entire calendar. Thank you all very much. Have a good night.
Trying we go. We go. Didn't think you would ever believe in me. Now I see your colors, now they're in my dreams. Do I need a doctor? Do I just need sleep? Cause I've been up for almost 3 weeks. Oh, you think you got to me? All you did was use me, round and round we go. We go. Baby, baby, now I'm trying to forget you. Baby, I know everything that was about you. No, I'm joking, I'm looking for the bathroom. Round and around, yeah, round and around we go. Picture perfect, but so many flaws to stop you. I don't wanna ever see you in the same room. I open up and then you hit on all my issues. Round and around we go. We go. Round and round we go. We go.